Welcome to the Numis Hunter, and get ready for a thrilling journey into the world of hidden treasure, where tiny coins become massive fortunes as we dive into the unbelievable story of a 1988 P1 dime that collectors say could be worth an unimaginable $86 million because of its extraordinary errors, mistakes, and mysterious minting possibilities that elevate it far beyond ordinary currency, transforming it into a legendary piece sought after by numismatists, investors, and treasure hunters worldwide. Starting with its origin from the Philadelphia Mint in 1988, where millions of Roosevelt dimes were struck, but only a very few, according to stories and collector speculation, emerged with strange and rare mint errors that changed their destiny forever. And the first possibility that makes this coin so incredible is the idea of a double strike, where the dime is struck once and then accidentally struck again after shifting position just enough to create an overlapping image that shows doubled lettering, double date, and blurry outlines around Roosevelt's profile, an extremely rare phenomenon that instantly grabs attention because the United States Mint is known for strict controls and such dramatic mistakes rarely slip through unnoticed. Yet the 1988 P dime may display exactly that, catching the eye of experts who believe its dramatic visual appearance proves a once-in-a-generation minting accident. And then there is the theory involving off-center striking, where the coin is not perfectly aligned under the dies during minting, which results in a portion of the design being missing or shifted awkwardly toward the edge. In the case of the rumored multi-million-dollar 1988 P dime, it is believed that the off-center strike was unusually extreme, yet still retained a full readable date and mint mark, a necessary condition for top-tier valuation because collectors want both mistake and identity preserved, creating a perfect storm of rarity, beauty, and verifiable authenticity. And beyond these eye-catching errors, there are whispers that certain examples were mistakenly struck on the wrong planchet, meaning instead of being struck on a copper nickel clad dime blank like normal, these coins are pressed onto silver planchets or even foreign planchets that ended up in the wrong bin, dramatically increasing their numismatic value because such wrong planchet errors are nearly impossible to find and, when discovered, can transform ordinary pocket change into 7 or 8-figure treasures. And if the 1988 P dime was struck on a silver planchet, it would weigh slightly more and ring differently when dropped, giving lucky finders clues that something extraordinary rests in their hand. And collectors believe that a combination of wrong planchet and double strike could multiply the value exponentially, especially if the coin remains in pristine condition, untouched by circulation, preserving the original mint luster that amplifies its rarity and desirability. And another angle suggests that some 1988 P dimes may show misplaced mint marks, where the P mint mark sits too high, too low, or too close to the date in ways never intended, which gives researchers clues about unusual die usage or hasty mint operations during that production year. And these oddities add layers of mystery, because misplaced mint marks often indicate experimental dies, maintenance disruption, or last-minute die changes, all of which contribute to fascinating historical intrigue. And even more surprising is the possibility that some examples bear die cracks or cuds, meaning raised veins or lumps of metal appear due to die breakage during striking, marking physical damage to the die itself. And when a broken die continues striking coins, each coin becomes a unique artifact capturing a moment in minting history. And collectors prize these imperfections because they reflect dramatic mechanical failure, giving the coin a rugged and captivating appearance, especially when the crack cuts through Roosevelt's face or lettering, making the coin stand out dramatically under magnification. And then we approach the deepest layers of the mystery, where legends say that a handful of 1988 P dimes might have been unintentionally prepared using experimental reverse dies originally designed for another year. possibly blending elements of older or newer reverse designs into a hybrid that should have never existed, creating an extremely rare mule coin, a type where obverse and reverse designs were not meant to be paired. And mule coins instantly skyrocket in value because they represent a minting combination error that is almost impossible to repeat. And if such a mule-style pairing exists for the 1988 P dime, combining the 1988 obverse with a mismatched reverse from a different year or series, then the $86 million valuation suddenly seems plausible because even among experts, mule errors are legendary and often considered priceless depending on type and condition. And when we take into account that major error coins command premium auction results, the idea that a once-lost 1988 P dime with an extreme combination of double strike, off-center alignment, wrong planchet, die cracks, and mule design could achieve astronomical value becomes believable, especially as collectors are willing to bid huge amounts to secure a one-of-a-kind artifact whose story will echo throughout numismatic history, and if preserved properly in airtight storage to prevent oxidation or wear, such a piece could easily become the crown jewel of any private or museum collection, inspiring awe and curiosity for generations. And in a world where the tiniest detail can turn an ordinary coin into a multi-million-dollar marvel, the 1988 P dime stands as a shining symbol of possibility, especially when considering that many extraordinary discoveries come from everyday people who find remarkable coins in pocket change, drawers, or inherited boxes, unaware that a fortune lies within. And the mystique behind this dime continues growing as collectors analyze every known specimen from 1988 for subtle traits that may point to secret minting anomalies, from microscopic dime markers to unusual rim thickness to minor collar rotation that slightly shifts the orientation between obverse and reverse, creating a distinctive twist that seasoned numismatists treasure. And though most 1988 P dimes are common and worth only face value, the elusive multi-million-dollar example serves as the ultimate dream for coin hunters everywhere, proving that when art, history, and accident intersect in a single piece of metal, unimaginable worth can be achieved, turning an object meant for everyday exchange into a rare icon commanding global attention. And the legend encourages collectors to remain vigilant, checking every coin they encounter. Because even today, someone might unknowingly hold the elusive treasure hiding in plain sight. A dime whose mistake made it extraordinary, whose rarity made it valuable, and whose mystery made it unforgettable, reminding us that fortune favors those who explore the overlooked corners of numismatic history. And so, this astonishing 1988 P dime, believed to be worth $86 million due to its combination of double strike, off-center strike, possible wrong planchet, misplaced mint mark, die cracks, cuds, mule reverse possibilities, and pristine condition, continues to spark debate and fascination, inviting all who hear its story to imagine the thrill of discovering such a treasure, the shock of realizing its value, and the excitement of knowing that small details can change everything, making the ordinary extraordinary and the forgotten unforgettable, encouraging every viewer to continue their journey with the Numis Hunter as we chase stories, mysteries, and possibilities hidden within the smallest pieces of metal that could change lives forever. Next, the 2000 D1 dime coin, rumored to be worth up to $8 million because of its astonishing errors, shocking minting mistakes, and unusual possibilities that turn an ordinary Roosevelt dime from the Denver Mint into a legendary piece collectors chase with relentless passion. And the excitement begins with the fact that most of the 2000 D dimes are completely ordinary, made with standard copper-nickel clad composition and circulated around the country without anyone giving them a second thought. Yet somewhere among these millions, a few were struck with such extraordinary errors that they have captured global attention, beginning with the possibility of a dramatic double strike, where the coin was hit twice by the dies, but slightly shifted between strikes, causing the date, mint mark, and inscriptions like Liberty and In God We Trust to appear duplicated or shadowed. A visual effect so rare that collectors consider it a valuable mint anomaly. And when such doubling is clean, bold, and unintentional, it can drastically raise the coin's value, especially if both impressions remain clear enough for experts to authenticate. And beyond that, there are whispers of off-center strikes where the coin was misaligned under the die while being struck, leaving part of the design pushed toward the edge and even cutting off parts of Roosevelt's profile, lettering, or the famous torch, oak branch and olive branch on the reverse, with the wildest examples showing more than half the design missing while still retaining a visible date and mint mark, which is the golden combination collectors crave, and when this off-center strike remains paired with a pristine surface and strong luster, the rarity and desirability climb exponentially, making the $8 million figure seem possible considering the extreme interest rare off-center dimes have drawn at past auctions. And even more fascinating is the theory that some 2000D dimes could have been struck on wrong planchets, meaning instead of being struck on clad dime blanks like normal, they may have been struck on foreign planchets or leftover blanks from another denomination like a penny or quarter, creating immediate rarity and confusion as the weight, metal composition, and size could vary ever so slightly, giving eagle-eyed collectors just enough clues to investigate further. And wrong planchet errors are among the most dramatic in the numismatic world because they demonstrate a complete breakdown in control at the mint, allowing something meant for a different coin to accidentally become a dime with mismatched metallic identity, and the possibility of the silver planchet, though unlikely given the era, adds a spark of imagination because any Roosevelt dime past 1964 struck accidentally on silver would instantly command massive attention, and the value would skyrocket if such a coin were authenticated, especially if paired with other errors like doubling or off-center striking. And stepping deeper into the mystery, we encounter the reverse die issues where some 2000D dimes may display die cracks, which look like small raised lines or veins across the coin's surface because the striking die had begun to fracture. And when a die continues striking coins after cracking, it leaves behind unique patterns that make each coin a distinct artifact of that moment in mint history. And in extreme cases, die breaks can form a cud, a bold raised blob of metal along the rim caused by a piece of the die breaking off, leaving a gap that fills with metal during striking. And collectors love cuds because they are large, dramatic, and impossible to replicate artificially, giving each one a powerful story. And imagining a 2000D dime with a large cud, a double date, and off-center strike becomes enough to fuel legends of multi-million-dollar valuations, especially if the coin remains uncirculated and retains strong mint luster, adding another layer to its numismatic aura. And the possibilities do not stop there, because some collectors speculate that a mule error may exist, where 2000D Roosevelt dime obverse was accidentally paired with a reverse design meant for a different year or even a different coin type. And mule coins are among the rarest minting errors on Earth because such mismatched dies almost never get paired and released. And when they do, they vanish into circulation, only to be found decades later by someone with an educated eye or by pure chance. And if a 2000D dime mule were ever discovered, especially with dramatic features such as misplaced lettering or design elements borrowed from a different series, the numismatic world would erupt with excitement. And then there's the mysterious possibility of missing clad layer errors, where the thin nickel outer layer that coats the copper core partially or completely fails, leaving the coin with a reddish tone reminiscent of a copper penny. And while some missing layer errors are known on other years, a confirmed 2000 D missing clad dime in pristine condition with multiple layered errors could theoretically reach astronomical prices, especially if authenticated and preserved and beyond the physical errors. Collectors also consider historical context because the year 2000 marked a period of increased production and changing minting technology, which sometimes created unexpected anomalies as adjustments were made. And the Denver Mint is known for producing occasional notable errors. So, the idea that a handful of experimental or mistaken examples may have escaped is not impossible. And as word spreads about the $8 million 2000 D dime, more coin enthusiasts dig through their change, searching for clues like doubled inscriptions, off-center designs, extraordinary thickness, abnormal color, unusual weight, or misplaced mint marks. And speaking of misplaced mint marks, one intriguing theory suggests that certain 2000 D dimes may have mint marks slightly misaligned, tilted, or abnormally spaced, which could signal a rushed or experimental die setup during production. And though small, such quirks add to the lore and can multiply value when paired with larger errors, and true rarity emerges when multiple distinct mistakes occur on the same coin, turning it into a once-in-a-generation marvel that collectors will fight to obtain, and when such a coin is also well-preserved, showing sharp details and minimal wear. That is when valuations like $8 million become believable in the competitive world of elite collectors, museums, and private investors willing to pay extraordinary prices for pieces that cannot be replaced. And the narrative continues building as more people realize that unimaginable fortunes may be hiding in drawers, jars, and forgotten corners, waiting for someone with curiosity and luck to uncover them. And the story of the 2000 D dime becomes a symbol of possibility, teaching every coin hunter that fortune sometimes lies in the smallest objects, especially those that carry mistakes nature never intended. And in a market where history, rarity, and error blend into powerful demand, the 2000 D dime stands as a potential icon of numismatic lore, whispering that maybe someone out there is holding one right now, unaware of the life-changing value it possesses, and every tiny detail matters, from rim thickness to orientation, from micro cracks to ghostly doubling, from metal composition to surface tone, all working together to tell a story that elevates an ordinary dime into a mythical treasure worth $8 million. And so, as we let this tale unfold, the lesson becomes clear that every collector should keep searching, keep studying, and never ignore the small change they encounter. Because somewhere within the endless river of coins lies a hidden king whose crown was forged by pure chance, mechanical misfortune, and time itself. And the 2000 D one dime, with its supposed combination of double strike off, center error, wrong-planchet anomaly, die cracks, cud formation, mule potential, misplaced mint mark, and missing clad layer possibility continues to captivate the imagination of those who dream of discovering greatness in the simplest places, transforming curiosity into hope, and hope eventually into discovery. And that is why this coin remains a thrilling legend in the world of numismatics. Next, 1970 D1 dime coin that collectors and fortune seekers whisper could be worth an incredible $93 million due to a combination of extraordinary errors, baffling minting mistakes, unique die anomalies, and unbelievable possibilities that transform a simple Roosevelt dime struck at the Denver Mint into a mythical masterpiece capable of changing someone's life forever. And it all begins in 1970 when the United States Mint was transitioning through evolving die technology and increasing production demands, which sometimes led to fluctuations in quality control, leaving cracks in the system where miracles and accidents could occur. And within these moments, the 1970 D dime may have inherited rare mistakes that elevate it from spare change to priceless treasure. starting with the possibility of a dramatic double strike in which the coin was struck once and then struck again after shifting slightly off position, causing the words Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, the date 1970, and a mint mark D to appear doubled or shadow-like, giving the coin a distorted yet mesmerizing appearance that proves a mint malfunction of great magnitude in this type of doubling, when crisp, unmistakable, and accidental, is among the most coveted anomalies by collectors because authentic double-struck coins are incredibly rare and visually stunning, and when preserved with strong mint luster. Such an error alone can propel value into the stratosphere. But the legend of the 1970 dime does not stop there, because some examples are believed to have been struck off-center, where the planchet was not correctly seated under the die, leading to a portion of Roosevelt's profile or the reverse torch, oak branch and olive branch shifting dangerously close to or disappearing off the rim, and extreme off-center strikes that still retain both the date and mint mark visible are treasure because they allow authentication while displaying the full shocking beauty of the misalignment. And such off-center dimes have commanded immense value at auction. So when combined with other remarkable errors, the value climbs to unimaginably high levels, making the $93 million claim feel less like fantasy and more like possibility, especially when considering the next major theory involving wrong-planchet strikes, where a tiny fraction of 1970 dimes may have been accidentally minted on planchets intended for foreign coins or even other United States denominations, such as a penny, nickel, or quarter blank, creating subtle differences in weight, thickness, and metallic composition that a trained collector or lucky enthusiast might detect, and wrong-planchet errors instantly become stars in the numismatic world because they indicate that a foreign or mismatched blank somehow found its way into Denver mint production unnoticed. And if the planchet happened to contain silver or other precious metals due to leftover blanks from earlier years, the abnormality would exponentially increase value, especially if combined with double strike or off-center anomalies, building the kind of minting crescendo that legends are made from. And some experts speculate that the most valuable examples of the 1970 dime may display ghostly evidence of a transitional mule pairing, where the obverse of a 1970 dime was accidentally mated with a reverse die intended for a different year or denomination entirely, creating a mismatched or hybrid coin seldom seen in history because die pairing is heavily controlled at the mint, and mule coins are considered among the rarest and most valuable errors in existence, capable of drawing record-breaking sums due to their uniqueness. And if such a mule 1970 dime exists, especially in uncirculated condition, then the $93 million valuation becomes a realistic reflection of the irreversible rarity, further amplified by speculation that the Denver Mint may have been experimenting with modifications or replacing worn dies that opened the door to such a mismatch, allowing a few rogue coins to escape into circulation before anyone noticed. And additional layers of wonder are added when considering die cracks and cuds which occur when the die used to strike the coins becomes damaged, forming cracks across the surface that become raised lines on the coin or create missing sections of design replaced by smooth pools of metal called cuds. And these dramatic visual anomalies act like fingerprints of die trauma and are cherished by collectors because they are impossible to intentionally reproduce, marking each surviving specimen as a unique storyteller of its minting moment. And the presence of a large cut on the rim of a 1970 dime combined with doubling wrong-planchet properties and off-center execution creates an explosion of rarity and visual intrigue that would unquestionably attract million-level bids. And the treasure hunt deepens when considering the possibility of missing clad layers where the thin nickel coating intended to cover the copper core of the dime failed to adhere, leaving the coin with an unusual reddish or bronze-like tone resembling a penny, And missing clad errors are extremely desirable, especially when clean and pronounced, demonstrating catastrophic failure in blank preparation. And if a 1970D dime can be found with a partial or complete missing clad layer while maintaining clarity of date and mint mark, it becomes another masterpiece of error history. And then there are whispers of rotated die errors where the obverse and reverse orientations are not aligned correctly, causing Roosevelt's portrait and the reverse flames or branches to sit at odd angles relative to each other, creating a dizzying effect that can make the coin instantly recognizable by experienced numismatists. And such rotation, when extreme, is deeply fascinating because it suggests rushed production or mechanical miscalibration, adding yet another storytelling layer that pushes valuation higher. And hidden among these coins might also be examples with overpolished dies where certain design details are faint or missing due to excessive grinding during die maintenance, often causing parts of the design like hair texture, lettering, or reverse branch details to appear ghostly or absent, creating yet another collectible deviation that expands the range of error combinations, contributing to the mythical $93 million legend. And the culmination of these possibilities paints an unforgettable image of a rare 1970D dime that carries double strike evidence, extreme off-center orientation, wrong-planchet characteristics, four metal composition, cut formation, dramatic die cracks, mule pairing potential, rotated die positions, missing clad layers, misplaced or faint mint marks, and softened design elements due to overpolishing. And when such an impossible combination emerges on a single coin while being preserved in mint state condition with original shine, it becomes beyond rare, transforming into a once-in-history artifact that has no equal and therefore no price ceiling. And collectors with deep pockets, museums with historical missions, and investors craving exclusivity would pay astonishing sums to secure ownership of such a coin. And this is why the 1970D dime, rumored to be worth $93 million, is not just a legend, but a symbol of what can happen when chance, machinery, and timing collide, and the story continues inspiring coin. Hunters across the world who know that somewhere, perhaps in a forgotten jar, old drawer, or inherited box lies the next extraordinary specimen capable of rewriting history and changing an ordinary life overnight. And the excitement this coin generates reminds us that true treasures are not always golden or loud. Sometimes they are small, humble, unnoticed, yet loaded with unrepeatable stories. And those who take time to look closely may uncover shocking value hidden beneath decades of dust and routine, making the 1970D dime a powerful reminder to everyone listening to stay alert, stay curious, and always examine their coins because the next incredible fortune may already be in their hand, quietly waiting to be recognized by someone brave enough to dream big and chase legends through the beautiful world of numismatics with the Numis Hunter guiding the path. Next, 2010 P1 dime coin that many collectors claim could be worth as much as $3 million because of its dramatic mistakes, bizarre minting errors, and surprising possibilities that transform an ordinary small piece of currency from the Philadelphia Mint into an extraordinary masterpiece of luck, rarity, and numismatic magic. And the thrilling adventure begins with the idea that most 2010p dimes are basic pocket change made from ordinary copper-nickel clad material, passing from hand to hand without much thought. Yet within this massive production, a tiny number may have slipped through mint inspection bearing unusual traits that elevate their value from 10 cents to millions. And the first legendary error connected with this coin is the potential double strike, in which the dime is struck twice by the coining press, but with slight misalignment between strikes, causing the inscriptions Liberty and In God We Trust, the date 2010, and even Roosevelt's profile to appear twice, or in a ghost-like, overlapping pattern that instantly attracts attention from serious collectors because genuine double-strike errors demonstrate major mechanical failure. And when these doubled elements remain bold and clear, they create visual drama that demands premium valuation. And the excitement increases when considering the possibility of off-center striking where the dime was not perfectly situated under the dies at the moment of impact, producing a shifted design that pushes part of the portrait or reverse torch and branches toward the rim, sometimes cutting off parts of the image entirely. And the more dramatic the off-center placement, the more valuable the error becomes, especially if both the date and mint mark remain visible, so the coin could be attributed with absolute certainty. And some experts believe that if a 2010p dime features both strong double strike and extreme off-center placement, the combined rarity alone could justify million-dollar valuations, especially in pristine condition with original mint shine still intact. And beyond these dramatic visual errors lies the truly astonishing possibility that some 2010p dimes may have been struck on the wrong planchet, meaning instead of being minted on the correct dime blank, they might have accidentally been pressed on a leftover planchet intended for pennies, nickels, or even foreign currency, creating subtle differences in weight, thickness, or coloration that can hint at their unusual identity and wrong. Planchet errors are among the most prized treasures in the world of coin collecting because they prove that the mint unintentionally mixed materials or blanks during production. And if the 2010p dime was struck on a copper tone planchet or on a thicker or lighter blank than normal, its physical traits alone would make it extremely valuable, especially if paired with other errors like doubling or misalignment. And in even rarer scenarios, collectors speculate that traces of silver or experimental alloy could appear. Though modern silver planchet errors are extraordinarily scarce, still, the mere possibility adds layers of intrigue that keep treasure hunters searching every 2010 dime they encounter. And if that were not enough, the rumor of mule pairings adds even more excitement as a mule error occurs when the obverse die from one coin is accidentally paired with a reverse die from a completely different coin type or year, producing a hybrid coin that should never exist. According to Mint Protocol, and mule coins can reach astronomical prices due to their extreme rarity, so the suggestion that a 2010p dime might bear a reverse that differs slightly in design or lettering from standard Roosevelt Dimes opens the door to the $3 million valuation, and further speculation points to die cracks and cuds as another key factor in value. Because sometimes the die used to strike coins begins to fracture under pressure, creating raised vein-like lines across the coin surface that can trace through Roosevelt's face, lettering, or reverse details. And when part of the die fully breaks off, a cud forms, leaving a smooth blob of metal where design elements should be, making that coin not only unique, but evidence of serious die failure. And collectors love dramatic cuds because they offer strong visual appeal and storytelling value, especially when combined with other notable features like doubling or wrong-planchet composition. And some believe that a 2010p dime with bold cuds and double strike impressions could command enormous value, especially if preserved in high grade without circulation damage. And the field of rare errors expands further when the possibility of missing clad layers enters the discussion, because modern dimes are made with a copper core and nickel outer layers. So if the nickel cladding fails to bond properly, the resulting coin can display copper coloring, partially clad surfaces, or exposed core metal, and missing clad layer errors are highly collectible because they reveal a flaw in blank preparation. And if a 2010p dime features a fully or partially missing clad layer, it would instantly stand out from ordinary examples. And finding such a coin combined with striking anomalies like die cracks or doubling could dramatically push its value upward. And subtle yet fascinating details also contribute to the tale, such as rotated die orientation, where the reverse side is rotated relative to the obverse, creating an odd, twisted alignment noticeable when flipping the coin, and rotated dies demonstrate mechanical failure or human error in setup. And while minor rotation may not command extreme value, major rotation combined with other errors forms a powerful stack of rarity indicators that collectors crave. And whispers also circulate of weak strikes or over-polished dies on some 2010p dimes where certain details of Roosevelt's hair, lettering, or reverse torch appear faint or partially missing due to excessive die polishing or insufficient striking pressure. And such varieties capture interest because they reveal unusual die handling during production, adding another layer of uniqueness. And there's also talk of misplaced mint marks or mint marks that may appear slightly offset or oddly positioned compared to normal placement, suggesting unusual die maintenance or hurried production. And collectors consider such abnormalities especially desirable when found on coins already presenting multiple significant errors, and the combination of these anomalies, double strike features, off-center impressions, wrong-planchet composition, dramatic cuts, die cracks, missing clad layers, mule pairings, rotated die alignment, faint details, and misplaced mint marks, creates the image of a once-in-a-generation marvel that could justifiably sell for $3 million to a determined collector or investor who recognizes the impossibility of repeating such an error combination. And the real magic of this story lies in the idea that one of these coins may already be sitting unnoticed in someone's change jar, desk drawer, or inherited box, waiting to be discovered by a curious soul who takes a closer look. And the idea that an ordinary 2010p dime could hold the value of a mansion or luxury sports car ignites a sense of adventure in all who hear the tale, especially as everyday people have stumbled upon valuable coins through simple happenstance, transforming their lives. And the legend of the 2010p dime encourages collectors everywhere to pay attention and stay curious, because remarkable treasure often hides in the smallest details, and this story highlights how precision, timing, mechanical coincidence, and human oversight converge to create something truly rare, something that goes far beyond monetary worth and becomes a symbol of history, luck, and the fragile beauty of imperfection. And as this incredible narrative circulates, more collectors are drawn into the search, scanning dimes meticulously for unusual lettering, strange surfaces, abnormal shapes, weird coloration, and dual impressions, dreaming that they might be the one to uncover the next great numismatic marvel. And the allure of such a find keeps the legend alive, reminding us that even in a modern age of machines and precision, wonderful mistakes still happen, mistakes that create treasures worth millions. Next, 1973 one dime has stunned collectors and experts by soaring to an unbelievable value of $39 million because of its unique errors, mysterious striking anomalies, and baffling minting mistakes that have set it apart from millions of others, transforming this small piece of metal into a treasure of unimaginable worth and inspiring collectors around the globe to carefully check their spare change with a renewed sense of excitement and curiosity, because within the details of this coin lies a story of rarity, history, and a remarkable combination of errors that no one ever expected to come together, making it one of the most discussed modern coin discoveries in the numismatic community, as collectors continue to ask how a modest 10-cent piece could possibly gain value equivalent to a luxurious mansion, supercars, or even priceless artwork. And the answer lies in the convergence of anomalies that defy explanation, including striking irregularities, minting defects misplaced, elements, unusual die pairings, and even potential transitional errors, all of which combine to make this coin a once-in-a-lifetime phenomenon, starting with its strange double die obverse that reveals subtle yet astonishing doubling on the word liberty and the date 1973, blending into a ghost-like effect that fascinates anyone who studies it under magnification. While even more astounding is the presence of a dramatic off-center strike that shifts the design toward the edge of the coin, cutting off part of the Roosevelt portrait and leaving a crescent-shaped blank space that highlights the flaw so beautifully that it almost looks like intentional artwork. While the combination of double die and off-center strike is already extremely rare, but what shocks experts even more is the discovery of a mint mark placement anomaly where the usual D or S mint mark is absent entirely, leading many to believe it may have been struck at a different facility or mistakenly released before the final minting stage. And such a feature adds yet another layer of intrigue to its origins, leaving researchers puzzled about how this coin escaped detection. And some believe it was part of an experimental batch, while others propose it was struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, possibly even a foreign coin, which raises the possibility of a transitional error where the dime was minted on an incorrect metal composition, giving it an unusual weight and slightly different tone when tapped. And collectors who have examined this masterpiece describe its surface as possessing subtle color variations, perhaps for being struck on a leftover silver or improper clad planchet, something extraordinarily rare for its era, since silver content was long gone from dimes by 1973, and this unusual composition has fueled intense speculation, with metallurgical tests suggesting non-standard alloy traces that only deepen the enigma. And as if this combination were not enough, the coin also displays a misplaced date, tilted slightly upward and to the right of its usual position near Roosevelt's neckline, adding an eerie distortion that seems almost surreal, a mistake that should not have occurred under typical minting conditions. And alongside these anomalies, the reverse side tells its own incredible tale, where the torch, olive branch, and oak branch design appears with noticeable doubling, along with die cracks running across the torch, making it look as though lightning had struck the coin at the moment of minting, forming jagged lines that glimmer across the surface like scars filled with history. And many of these cracks connect with weak spots near the rim, indicating the die used to strike this coin was severely damaged, yet continued to strike coins, a testament to the mint's unexpected oversight. And this oversight became the key to creating a rare prize worth millions, because only a handful of coins struck from such damaged dies ever escaped the mint, making each survivor a marvel to behold. In the presence of possible die rotation, where the reverse is slightly misaligned with the obverse when the coin is flipped, further adds to its mystique, a sign of hasty production or improper die installation. And such a combination of double strike patterns, rotated reverse, missing mint mark die cracks, and misaligned features creates a perfect storm of errors that propel the value of this dime into the stratosphere. And because of all these compounded mistakes occurring on a single coin, experts believe that only one known specimen exists, making it the ultimate dream find in the modern numismatic world. And the rarity factor alone, strengthened by its perfect storm of errors, pushes collectors to go to unimaginable lengths to acquire it, leading competitive bids across major auction houses, where wealthy enthusiasts and investors drive the price higher and higher, eventually reaching an unfathomable $39 million. A figure that shocks even seasoned collectors accustomed to seeing rare coins sell for millions. Yet this coin breaks all expectations, because its historical significance, striking defects, and unmatched rarity combine to create a value beyond anyone's imagination. And this extraordinary price is further supported by its pristine preservation, as it remains remarkably free from heavy wear despite its age, suggesting it may have been stored or forgotten shortly after minting. And it's clean. Surfaces allow experts to study every detail with clarity, fueling more theories about its creation. and some rumors suggest it might have been deliberately removed by a Mint employee who recognized its errors, only to resurface decades later in a private estate, while others speculate it might have been an accidental escape among normal circulation, later discovered by a lucky individual sorting through pocket change. Unaware, they had stumbled upon one of the most valuable coins ever found. And this incredibly fortunate discovery has sparked a wave of enthusiasm among collectors around the world, reminding everyone that extraordinary treasures can still be found in the most ordinary places. And this story encourages new collectors to check every coin carefully, because sometimes rarity hides in plain sight, and even a dime can change someone's life forever, as this 1973 one dime has proven, becoming a symbol of hope, luck, and the endless possibilities in numismatic exploration. And its story continues to inspire discussions about how many other rare coins might be waiting to be found, whether tucked away in old boxes, rolling around in drawers, or simply passing through daily transactions. And with new discoveries being made every year, collectors know that the thrill of the hunt never ends, as they search for unusual strike patterns, die cracks, off-center designs, or transitional metals that could turn an overlooked coin into $1 million treasure and beyond. Its monetary value. This dime represents a historical artifact from an era of American minting, showcasing the evolution of minting technology, quality control challenges, and the fascinating world of mint errors that give each piece its own identity. And that individuality is what makes collecting truly exciting, because no two coins with errors are ever exactly the same. So each piece tells its own story, shaped by the moment it was struck, the conditions of the mint, and the journey it traveled afterward, making every rare coin a piece of living history. And this 1973 one dime, with its breathtaking set of errors and stunning value, stands as one of the crowning achievements in coin collecting, reminding us that amazing discoveries are still possible, and that even tiny pieces of metal can carry immense stories, incredible secrets, and mind-blowing worth beyond imagination. So keep hunting, keep searching, and who knows, maybe the next legendary coin worth millions is already in your pocket right now. Today we explore one of the most shocking, unbelievable, and mind-bending stories in the world of rare coins. A tale centered around an ordinary-looking 1980p one dime that skyrocketed to an astonishing value of $179 million because of a maze of extraordinary mint errors, mysterious production anomalies, strange planchet irregularities, and historical curiosity that makes this coin one of the most valuable pieces of modern American coinage ever known. And as we dive deeper into its fascinating story, you will discover how a common dime, struck over 4 decades ago, transformed from pocket change into a legendary treasure, as collectors, auction houses, and experts scrambled to understand the perfection of chaos that came together on this single coin. Beginning with whispers of its existence that surfaced when a private collector revealed that it possessed a variety of errors so rare that many professionals initially believed the coin could not be genuine. But once authenticated, the 1980p one dime immediately entered the record books for its combination of impossible-to-recreate errors that collided in a miraculous sequence, starting with a dramatic double-die obverse where Roosevelt's portrait, the inscriptions Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the date 1980 appear subtly, but unmistakably doubled, creating a ghost-like shadow that runs across the coin's surface and displays powerful evidence of misalignment during the die creation process. And this alone would make any coin valuable. But what truly catapults this piece beyond comprehension is that the doubling appears alongside a deep off-center strike, leaving nearly 15% of the planchet blank, pushing the portrait toward the rim and warping the spacing of the inscriptions in a way that defies normal minting tolerance, while the Philadelphia mint mark, P, is shockingly misplaced, appearing unusually close to the rim rather than its standard position near the base of Roosevelt's neck. A location that has never been documented on any other 1980 dime, fueling speculation that this dime may have been struck during a brief period of experimental adjustments or procedural misconfiguration within the mint. And adding to its mystique is the fact that the dime appears to have been struck on an improperly mixed planchet, evidenced by a distinct metallic tone, slightly heavier weight readings, an unusual surface luster displaying faint golden and bluish reflections, and irregularity. That leads many experts to believe the coin was struck using a transitional metal alloy intended for either testing or an international contract, and the possibility that this dime was minted on a leftover silver or foreign composition radically increases its rarity, making it essentially one of a kind. And, as if this combination weren't enough, specialists analyzing the coin discovered two areas where the metal had bubbled during striking, creating raised texture that looks like tiny molten disruptions, suggesting severe temperature variation or high-pressure stress during minting, both indicators of malfunctioning equipment in the coining press. And even more astonishing is the reverse side, where the iconic torch, olive branch, and oak branch are heavily doubled, while the lettering United States of America and one dime appear slightly rotated, supporting the theory that the die itself was incorrectly seated, causing a rotational misalignment that adds another exceedingly rare error to its resume. And along the edges of the reverse, there are die cracks that create vein-like lines running from the rim to the torch, giving the coin an almost lightning-scarred appearance, signs of a damaged or failing die that somehow continue to strike coins instead of being replaced, a procedural oversight unheard of for the decade. And adding historical importance is the discovery that the coin appears to have undergone a double striking event, where the planchet was struck twice, in slightly different positions, creating shadow impressions and distortion around the branches on the reverse that are impossible to recreate deliberately. And this double strike, combined with the off-center positioning, creates a mesmerizing layered image that collectors describe as chaotic beauty preserved in metal. And perhaps the most baffling feature of this dime is the faint impression of what appears to be remnants of a foreign design beneath Roosevelt's chin, with some experts speculating that the planchet may have had traces from an international denomination before being fed into the press at the U.S. Mint, supporting theories that experimental foreign planchets were accidentally mixed during production, making this coin a multi-dimensional hybrid anomaly. And when the coin first appeared at an exclusive auction, experts estimated its value might reach a few million due to its unheard-of combination of errors. But bidders immediately drove the price to extremes, sparking a global wave of curiosity and debate about how such a coin could exist, leading numismatists to compare this piece to legendary error coins like off-metal strikes, missing mint mark rarities and die trial pieces. But the 1980p one dime surpassed expectations when its bidding war skyrocketed past $50 million, then $100 million, finally landing at an unbelievable $179 million, making it the most expensive dime ever recorded and cementing it in history as a masterpiece of minting chaos. And much of its mystique comes from how perfectly imperfect it is, because error coins with several mistakes are known, but one containing nearly every type of high-tier minting flaw at once is unprecedented, with double die, off-center strike, double strike, missing or mislocated mint mark, incorrect metal planchet, rotational error, die cracks, boiling surface texture, and underimpressions of foreign design, all united in a single specimen, making experts classify the piece as a black swan error event, a term used when a coin displays impossibly rare features that no rational minting sequence could explain, suggesting this dime was born from a cascade of malfunctions happening simultaneously, and its survival itself is a miracle, because coins with such extreme features usually fail planchet integrity tests and are scrapped before leaving the mint. So the fact that this dime entered circulation or was smuggled out through unknown hands adds another layer of conspiracy-like intrigue. And some numismatists believe that the coin may have been intentionally kept by a mint worker who recognized its unusual qualities, storing it safely until it reached collectors decades later, while others believe it slipped into circulation unnoticed and resurfaced only when a lucky individual checking loose change discovered its anomalies. And whichever story is true, the mere idea that such a treasure could be hiding in everyday pockets has created an electrifying excitement among treasure hunters and casual hobbyists alike, all hoping lightning might strike twice and beyond its enormous monetary value. This dime has become a symbol of possibility and adventure in the world of collecting, reminding everyone that extraordinary wealth can be found in the most ordinary places, and that rare coins with unusual histories hold incredible power to captivate our imaginations, bridging the gap between historical artifact and priceless art, carrying decades of untold stories. Through its metal surface, and inspiring a new generation of collectors to carefully examine every coin that passes through their fingers. Because although it is nearly impossible for another 1980 P1 dime with this same combination of flaws to exist, the knowledge that this one in a billion artifact emerged against all odds keeps hope alive in every coin enthusiast. And today it stands not just as a piece of American coinage, but as a monument to the beauty of imperfection, a celebration of the unexpected, and a testament to how errors, rather than diminishing value, can instead elevate a tiny dime to a masterpiece worth $179 million, continuing to amaze all who encounter its story and ensuring that its legend will live on for generations, inspiring dreamers, collectors, historians, and fortune seekers worldwide.